Welcome to Marketing and Mindset for Wellness Coaches, the podcast for health coaches and wellness entrepreneurs just like you who are building a business, making the world a healthier place, and designing a first-class life. I'm your host, Kim Foster, MD and certified business coach, and I'm on a mission to help you up-level your strategy and raise your mindset so you can truly thrive and grow your business. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Marketing and Mindset for Wellness Coaches. This is episode number 49 of my podcast, which is so hard to believe. I'm narrowing in on 50 episodes, which is so exciting for me. I absolutely love doing this podcast. And again, I want to thank you so much for spending a little time with me, for being here today, and for being an engaged listener. Okay, now let's get into today's episode because today I want to talk to you about how to deal with setbacks in your business. Now, a couple of months ago, I was talking with one of my clients who has been working so hard this past year to build her business. And she was really frustrated because some of her marketing strategies have had some, disappointing results. She didn't get a ton of people enrolling in her program, and some of her Facebook ads weren't performing all that well. And she was just really discouraged. And so we talked about it. We worked through some of the strategy and we analyzed her results and tweaked the plan a little. But before we did that, I talked to her about her mindset and her expectations. And I said, there are solutions to everything. There's always going to be a solution, but the real thing that will hold you back is your mindset. If you tell yourself a story that nothing works, then guess what? You'll stop looking for those solutions. And that's when the story that nothing works will become true. It will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so the most important thing here is to maintain a platinum mindset. It's so easy in the Instagram age just to look at other people's businesses and think, oh, all these other people are so successful. Nobody else has the problems that I'm struggling with. It's just me. And therefore, something is wrong with me and this is never going to work. And that was definitely the trap that she was spiraling down. But I assured her that this is the path of being an entrepreneur. Show me a successful entrepreneur in the coaching space, and I'll show you someone who had a disappointing launch or put something out in the marketplace and it bombed, or hosted a webinar and only like 3 people turned up and one of them was your best friend. Honestly, this isn't just what happens to entrepreneurs. This isn't just what it means to be an entrepreneur. This is what it means to be a human. So I gave my client some questions to think about, some mindset work to consider, and she just sent me a message today to say, oh my God, this helped me out so much. And so I wanted to share it with you here on the podcast because I'm willing to bet that you have dreams and goals, and sometimes it may feel like you're never going to get there. You may have a beautiful vision for the future. And in fact, this episode goes hand in hand with my previous episode, which was all about creating a vision board for your business and your life. And so you may have this gorgeous, inspiring vision for the future that you deeply want to create for yourself. But you may face some setbacks and some obstacles when it comes to making that a reality. And so I want to talk to you about how to stay strong and to hold on to that vision and weather those setbacks so that you actually do get there. Now, I used to feel this way around keeping my house tidy, which is, let's face it, an ongoing battle with 2 boys in the house. Actually, scratch that. Make that 3 boys. My big boy, my husband, he's the worst of all, actually, with leaving messes around. Anyway, I would go on a blitz. I'd get things all tidied up and looking nice. And then no sooner would that happen than, of course, I would start lapsing into old habits. I'd leave stuff around, get all lazy about washing the dishes, and then the clutter would start to pile up and things would get messier and messier. And to me, it was such a setback. It was so discouraging. And so what I would do is I would start to build stories around the facts of maintaining a tidy home. I would tell myself things like, this is never going to work. I'm never going to be able to live in a tidy house and keep it that way. This is just the way it's going to be. I might as well give up completely and just accept that I have to live like Pigpen. And so then I would follow that energy and would end up proving myself true. When it comes to holding on to your vision, what that means is to practice believing in it no matter what. And this is very hard for the mind because we want to look around at what is and base our thinking on what we can see right now. But what you're creating in the future, you can't yet see. This is something that I've talked about lots on the podcast before. So you're going to have to hold on to the vision in your mind and practice believing in it so that you can feel your future now. And if you can hang on to that long enough, eventually it will manifest in reality. It's just the way the world works. But let's look at what happens. So I think about my client. When I was talking to her, she was just very discouraged. Like I said, her launch didn't get exactly the results she was hoping for. Her Facebook ads weren't performing well, and she was just feeling like she was in a slump. And from that, I could see what her brain was doing. It was like she left her future and she came back to the present, just looking around at what was during that particular moment and started to build a story around it. She was telling herself things like, I'm never going to get there. This is too hard. I don't know how to deal with this. Maybe I'm just not meant to be an entrepreneur. And you think about the energy of those kinds of thoughts because that's what the world is responding to. It's responding to your energy. I talk a lot about this on this podcast. We have to be our future now. And I totally get it. That is so easy to do when everything is going the way you want it to go and things are running smoothly. But what about when it isn't? What about when you do have that failure? What about when you make a big mistake? What about when you have a client who's upset or you receive an unexpected bill or maybe you get sick? Can you still hold on to your vision even when your current reality is difficult? And this is exactly what separates the people that end up creating their visions from those who don't. I feel like some of you think that the road or the path to your best life and to your vision is supposed to be easy. So when it gets hard, you start to make that mean something that doesn't serve you. When it becomes hard, you make it mean that you're not doing it right, or you make it mean that you're not good enough, or you make it mean something that doesn't serve you. But what if that is the process? What if those obstacles are there to grow you? Sometimes I see it as a test. I see these things as a test of like, how committed am I really to my vision? And when I look at it that way, it ignites a really deep fire within me to overcome it. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing things very differently. I don't see it as an obstacle that's there to stop me. I see it as something that's there to grow me. And that makes all the difference in the world. I'm holding on to my vision. And that's even when I'm feeling a little unsteady. I hold on to that vision to grow me and to pull me toward. And over the course of my life, by doing that, I've created so many amazing things for myself. And I've seen my clients do it as well. Now, another thing that I see a lot of people do is to give up way too soon. I had a conversation with a new potential client. This was a discovery call, and she was just trying to decide, of course, if we were a good match and if my program was what she was looking for. And she was just starting her business, maybe 3 months of working on it. And she was telling me how nothing was working. She said those words, nothing is working. I can't get any clients. So I said, okay, well, tell me what you've done. And she said, well, I sent out an email to everyone I know and I posted about my business on my Facebook page a couple of times and nobody has responded. And she was going to give up at this. She was making this mean that nothing was working and nobody wanted to buy her services. But obviously, this is not how it works. She was just getting started. She had barely scratched the surface of what's required to get a business up and running and get consistent traffic and leads and clients. But she was taking the fact that she was not getting a response with a couple of emails and Facebook posts, and she was making it mean that something was going terribly wrong. But here's the thing. You have to hold on to your vision no matter what. Even if you send out 100 emails and you don't get one client out of that, What if you refuse to stop? You don't make it mean that nothing is working. You maybe make it mean that you have to keep going. You have to try something different. You have to shift your strategy. You have to double down, whatever it is, being relentless in your goal, but flexible in your method. And let me tell you, my mind does this too. I have setbacks all the time. I face challenges and disappointments on a regular basis. And my brain always wants to go to the worst case scenario. This will never work. You're never going to get there. You have no idea what you're doing. And I have retrained myself to catch myself in those disempowering thought patterns and really pull out of it and reframe into something much more positive and helpful. So what is the vision that you have for your life and your business? This is step number 1, figuring out what your vision is. Who do you want to be and what do you want to create? Also, what do you want to experience? And then you have to start being that woman now. And so I want to give you some other questions to think about because I know that this is just part of life. I know that many of you listening right now, maybe are going through a setback of some sort, and you're probably making it mean something that confirms that this is a legitimate setback and it's really not meant to be. So then guess what you do? You create that setback for yourself. Do you see how this works? But when you hold onto your vision, no matter what, everything changes. The analogy that I love to use with clients is this one. A while ago, when I was working at the university here at the clinic, we had a series of seminars on emergency planning. And one of the things that they were talking about was being prepared to get places you needed to get to and to think about how you might get there if the regular routes were unavailable. And of course, I was thinking about how I would get to my boys. If there was an earthquake, for example, because we actually do live in an earthquake risk zone, and apparently we're due for a big one. So there's that. But this emergency prep specialist guy was talking about the importance of thinking through various scenarios, like if you couldn't use the roads or your vehicle or whatever. So I started thinking about it in my head, kind of walking it through in my mind. And the idea that I would, of course, need to go and pick up my boys from school in the case of an emergency, and working at the university, it's a lot further away from their school and our house. So I started thinking about it in my head, just walking through it in my mind and thinking about the idea that I would, of course, need to go and pick up my boys from their school in case of an emergency. And, as I was working at the university, which is a lot further away from the school and our house, but I wasn't thinking, oh, if something is wrong with the roads, I'm not sure how I'll get them, so I guess I just won't. No, I was like, I will be getting to the school no matter what. I will be there. So I thought, okay, well, I'm a runner and all I really need are some running shoes. I can swap out my work shoes, my heels, and just pop on my runners and just start running. So that night at home, I grabbed a couple of pairs of old running shoes that I didn't really use anymore, and I stashed one pair in my desk at work and one in my car. And after that, I knew that I would be getting to that school no matter what was going on. But even if I didn't have those shoes stashed, I would still find a way. I would still be getting to that school no matter what. And you can be like that in your business or really in any other area of your life. It's what it means to make something non-negotiable, even if it's hard. And to me, that is commitment. So let me give you some questions to think about if you're in the middle of a setback and things aren't going the way that you want them to go or the way that you think they should go. Here are some of the questions that I love to ask myself and I love to ask my clients. The first one is, how is this happening for me? A lot of times you think that something is happening to you and against you. And so if you think that way, you're going to be the victim of your circumstances. And we're not victims around here, right? So I want you to ask yourself, how is this happening for me? What am I learning here? How am I being made to grow and evolve? And what that means when you ask yourself these questions is that now your brain is going to have to look for reasons that change your energy. You may find that this is happening for you because maybe your way of getting to your vision isn't the best way. Maybe there's another way that's actually more effective or maybe more enjoyable. So ask yourself that. How is this happening for me? The other question I love to ask myself is, How is this growing me as a human, as a woman? Everything is our teacher, and yet so often we want to resist those teachers. So if you're in a setback right now and you're having such a hard time holding on to your vision, I want you to just ask yourself, how is this growing me? How is this going to make me a stronger human? How is this going to benefit me? And you might find that there is so much to be gained from the setback that you're dealing with. Another question I love to ask myself is, who do I want to be in this? This is so important, and it really has to do with your identity. How do you want to see yourself navigating this challenge? Another question I love to ask myself is, who do I want to be in this? This is so important, and it really has to do with your identity. How do you want to see yourself navigating this challenge? I have a client in my business academy, and she is hosting her very first webinar. She's just about to do it, and she's currently only got 2 strangers registered. The other 3 people are her mom, her husband, and her best friend. But she was all, I don't care that I only have 2 strangers who are registered. I am going to love those 2 up and deliver an amazing presentation to them as though they were 200 people. I learned this lesson a long time ago in 2013 when I was attending a blogging conference in Toronto called Blissdom. I was a health and wellness blogger back then for Erica's Yummy Mummy Club website and blog. And the conference organizers for this conference had hired R&B singer Julie Black to perform at one of those evenings. And she's a pretty big star at that point, and her concerts had many thousands of people at them. And this event had maybe 100 women present that evening. A lot of, mom bloggers and influencers, but it was substantially smaller than I'm sure that she was used to performing for. But oh my God, did that woman show up. Full stage show, lights and everything. And she performed like I seriously have never seen anyone perform before. She was fierce and so powerful. And she belted out every song. And it was so evident that she performed for 100 mom bloggers as though we were 20,000 raving fans at Madison Square Garden. And it just totally blew me away. And that is how I would encourage you to be. So you don't get as many people as you hoped. So your launch was disappointing. So you only have 12 people on your mailing list right now. How do you want to show up for those 12 people? Who do you want to be? Whatever you decide is going to influence the energy that you have in this moment, which is creating your entire life. It's creating what you attract. It's creating how you show up, and it's creating the results in your life. So who do you want to be in this situation? Now, the final question that I want you to ask yourself is, what do I need to believe right now? And what if, even though you're facing a setback, what if you choose to believe that you're going to get there no matter what? Just like with me getting my kids at school, if there was an emergency, I believe that I am going to get there. I will be there, and I believe it. And when you figure out what you need to believe in while you're right inside a challenging situation or an obstacle, it will shift your energy so quickly. And then from that place, you'll show up to handle the situation. It just changes everything. So ask yourself, what do I need to believe in right now? Imagine that you're going to achieve your business dreams. You are going to get there. But right now, you're dealing with what is. What do you need to believe? And what if you believe, I'm going to get there no matter what? And I want you to see the vision of your future business as someone you love, waiting patiently for you to pick them up like my boys at school. You can't wait to get there and finally be together, and everything is going to be all right. You can't wait to hold them, to hug them, to kiss them, and be with them. But what you have to do now is strap on those running shoes and start the journey to get there. It's not a question of if you're going to get there. You are going to get there. It's happening. And you may have some encounters along the way, bad weather, obstacles on the sidewalk or the road, whatever it is, but you are going to get there one way or another. And if you practice believing in, I'm going to get there no matter what, then you'll show up and make it happen. Things may slow you down, but nothing will stop you. And that is the energy of holding on to your vision no matter what. Okay, that's a wrap for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear from you. Take a screenshot and post it in your Instagram stories. Tag me at Dr. Kim Foster and let me know how you intend to deal with the setback you might be experiencing right now. Let's have a conversation about that. Have a fabulous week. And in fact, 2 weeks, actually. Next week, I'm going to take a brief break to enjoy the holidays with my family. And then I'll be right back at it the following week. So when we talk next, it will almost be the new year. It'll be the very end of December. And we have got some great stuff to talk about when it comes to stepping into 2021. I will talk to you then. Bye for now. Thanks so much for listening. If you are ready to build a coaching business that gives you freedom and flexibility and allows you to make a meaningful impact in the world, but you're not really sure how to get started or what you need to do to attract the perfect clients and grow your income, then let me be your coach. I would love to teach you my exact framework, my proven method for how I created a freedom-based business for myself and how I've helped dozens of clients do the same thing and create a life that is better than their dreams. Get started by heading over to drkimfoster.com/business training. And there you can sign up for my free online training called The 4-Part Formula for Replacing Your 9-to-5 Income with a Coaching Business You Love.